I was asked by Gail Gorgio to examine some handwriting of Elvis Presley. She supplied me with a copy of a letter written to President Nixon in 1970 and the death certificate or medical examiner's report at the time of his reported death. I examined these two documents and compared them by measuring the slant of the handwriting, the spacing between the letters, spacing between the words, the size of the letters, and the individual letter formations. I also made transparent photocopies where I could lay one photocopy, a transparent copy on top of another one for close comparison. I examined these under transmitted light with a light table. Result of my examination was that I found that the slant matched on both documents, that the size of the letters was the same, the spacing between the letters was the same, and many of the individual letter forms were the same. My conclusions after this exhaustive examination was, in my professional opinion as a document examiner, that the same person who wrote the letter to President Nixon also wrote the Elvis Presley death certificate or medical examiner's report of Elvis Presley.
Maybe this was my real destiny that God had prepared me for all this time. President Nixon was starting a national crusade against drugs. So I went to Washington and took a letter to the White House, and the President agreed to meet me. Dear Mr. President, first, I would like to introduce myself. I am Elvis Presley, and I admire you and have great respect for your office. I have great concern for our country. The drug culture, the hippie elements, the SDS, Black Panthers, etc. do not consider me as their enemy, or as they call it, the establishment. I call it America, and I love it. Sir, I can and will be of any service that I can to help the country out. I can and will do more good if I were made a federal agent. Sir, I am staying at the Washington Hotel. I am registered under the name of John Burroughs. I will be here for as long as it takes to get the credentials of a federal agent. Respectfully, Elvis Presley.
What did you and President Nixon discuss?
First thing he said was, "You dress kind of strange, don't you?" So I said, "Well, Mr. President, you got your show, I got mine." Later, I saw that I had put on too much mascara. But I showed him some of my deputy badges. I gave him a World War II Colt 45. Then I told the President I admired him, that I had great respect for his office, and I told him I wanted to help people respect the flag, because it was getting lost. I also said the Beatles had come to this country with their filthy, unkept appearance, and the drug music and promoted an anti-American theme. And he said I was right. Then the President said that drug users were the leaders of anti-American protests and violence. And he said dissent is a result of young people using drugs. And I said he was right.
Well, wait, was it not ironic that you were offering to help to fight drugs when you yourself were a drug user?
No, absolutely not. I never used drugs. I didn't even drink alcohol. I took prescription medications only. Always from a doctor for medical conditions I had.
How much sleep do you get?
I average about 4 or 5 hours a night, I guess.
Is that enough?
Well, it's really not, but I'm used to it, and I can't sleep any longer.
I was an insomniac. I had a history of nightmares and sleepwalking going back to childhood. Mama would remove the doorknobs, so I couldn't walk out the house in the middle of the night. In the Army, they would issue us Dexedrine. It was to help stay awake when you had to. The hippies were using LSD, marijuana, heroin, drugs that were killing people. Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin had died within 2 weeks of each other. Anyway, I told the President I was just a poor boy from Tennessee who wanted to serve his country by taking down groups like the Weathermen and the Black Panthers. And I could do it because they would trust me.
And how did Nixon react to your offer?
The President got very excited, and he said he was proud of me. He called the director at the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs and told him to make me a federal drug enforcement agent. It was the most wonderful moment of my life. I was finally starting my real destiny as an American hero.
But wasn't your becoming a federal agent public knowledge?
Yeah, but everyone thought I just liked to collect badges. I mean, who in the world would ever suspect Elvis Presley was a federal agent? No one. Never. And the most effective agent is the one least suspected, who has another job. And if anyone asked my opinion about anything, I said I was only an entertainer.
What is your opinion of war protesters? And would you today refuse to be drafted?
Honey, I just seem to keep my own personal views about that to myself. I'm just an entertainer, and I'd rather not say.
Did you get any kind of training to become a federal agent?
Federal agents had to do 3 months of weapons training and physical combat. They let me out of weapons because of my Army service, and I did martial arts on my own. That's why I became an 8th degree karate black belt.
Why is your federal agent badge not on display at Graceland?
Cause it's here. It's with me all the time, man. Check it out. By the way, you're all under arrest. No, I'm just kidding.
With the promise of serving the country, were you happy now?
Very much so. I've been serving the devil, the Hollywood machine, for such a long time. I needed a higher calling to put meaning in my life. I hadn't done anything I was proud of in 12 years. I felt God had given me my talent to arrive at this day when America needed me, to stop the drug culture and to keep the America haters from destroying it. Captain Marvel Jr., he had fought and defeated them. And now it was my turn to fight to save America. My turn to fight for freedom. I was going to be America's secret weapon, just like Captain Marvel Jr. was. At all times. My boys had guns too. And that's not the only thing. Captain Nazi started spreading rumors that I was a drug user, thinking he'd get the DEA to fire me. I was so mad I went off on stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
The rumors you hear about me are trash. I'm an 8th degree black belt in karate. I'm a federal narcotics agent. I am. I swear to God. On the contrary, I have to be straight as an arrow. I don't drink booze. I don't take any from this night. By God, don't say booze, son. I'll whoop your ass. Because I'm into God's truth. Thank you very much.
About mid-76, the FBI...
Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel. Well, I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. I'll be so lonely I could die. Although it's always crowded, you still can find some room for broken-hearted lovers is to cry there in the gloom. So I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. I'll be so lonely I could die. Now the bellhouse ears keep blowing, the desk clerk's dressed in black. Well, it's been so long down on the street, they'll never look back in there. So I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. They'll be so lonely, they could die. Well, if your baby leaves you, you got a tale to tell. Just take a walk down lonely street to heartbreak, 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 heart. You'll be so lonely, baby. You'll be so lonely. You'll be so lonely. Goodbye. Hang on, baby. Help. Help. Play it dirty, baby. Help. Help, 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 help. Although it's always crowded, you're stuck in find some room for broken-hearted lovers is to cry. They'll be so lonely, baby. They'll be so lonely. They'll be so lonely they could die.
Well, welcome back to the second part of this film, Elvis Lives. The first thing that you seen was part of a movie called An American King, The Elvis Files. And I gotta tell y'all, this movie's very cool. I think you're gonna like it. But this movie's just packed full of hard evidence showing that Elvis is really alive. And I tell you, I believe that anybody who takes the time and checking this movie out, I believe you're going to be amazed at what you're going to find out. So please, check this out. It's really cool. And the second thing that I showed you was a chapter from the movie, Elvis Found Alive. Now the picture wasn't very good here. Now I simply took my video camera and I videoed my TV as I was playing the movie. But I believe it was very important to include this part of the movie in this documentary. Now I believe that this gives us a true understanding of the way that Elvis felt when he went to see President Nixon and became a federal agent. You know, I love Elvis Presley and his music my entire life. But by watching this movie, Elvis Found Alive, I believe that this gives me a better understanding of who this man really was. Not the image that we all know, but the man himself. You know, he gave up everything because he loved us. He loved his country and he loved his fans. And I believe, as he said in the movie, he was afraid there wasn't going to be anything left for us if something didn't happen. So I believe that we can all start paying him back just by taking this situation just a little more seriously. You know, Elvis was the greatest entertainer in American history. He was our very first rock star. We all owe him so much. Elvis was the man who invented cool. You know, he taught the fans how to be cool. But he had to give it all up because he loved us. He loved his country. So I believe that at least we could do is take a break from our video games. Maybe turn the TV off for an hour or two and get on the internet to start investigating this. Or do something. And start sharing what you may find out with friends. And encourage others to do the same. You know, I think to start with, we can start looking at what was going on in our country at the time that Elvis went to see President Nixon. I'll tell you, our country was going straight to, it was going straight down the toilet, man. So, it's up to us, as Americans and Elvis fans alike, to find out the truth here. Not just about Elvis, but what was going on in our country at that time in our history. And it's my belief that if we're aware of the situation in our country at that time, we may be able to prevent this situation from ever happening again. So, face it, our country's in real trouble today. And I believe it's time that we all start acting like Americans. We need to wake up. God will help us if we only believe and do something. Do whatever we can to help. I believe it's really up to us to find out the truth here. Okay, let's get back to business here. What I would like to do now is take a little time and go over 2 major clues that I believe is telling the world that Elvis did not die. Now the first clue is probably the most famous of them all. But before I get started, let me ask you, is there anybody left out there who is unaware that Elvis's name is spelled wrong on his gravestone? Well, it is. Elvis's full name is Elvis Aaron Presley. And on the gravestone, they spelled Aaron with 2 A's. Now, when Elvis was born, they made this mistake on his birth certificate. And his dad went through great measures to have this mistake fixed. And his dad is the one who was in charge of having the gravestone made. People come from all over the world to see Graceland and visit Elvis's grave. Now, if this was a mistake, don't you think they would have it fixed? It ain't like they don't have the money to fix this mistake. And it's been this way now for almost 35 years. And another thing about the gravesite, Elvis's most important person in his life was his mother. Don't you think Elvis would want to be next to his mom? Well, he's not. Now in the movie Elvis Found Alive, Elvis said that this is not a mistake. He said, who wants to see their name on a grave? So what I'm going to ask you to do now is take a little time and think about this. And while you're doing that, I've got a video for you. This song came out many years ago, and still to this day, no one's ever came forth and taken credit for doing this song. So here it is. Check the spelling on the stone. Artist unknown.
People wonder, people ask, am I present? Am I past? I never left, I haven't gone. Check the spelling on the stone. Was my leaving you a sin? Did my faith somehow grow thin? My secret's out, so many know. Check the spelling on the stone.
The legend lives, never dies. It's up to you to decide.
Say the word and I'll come home. Check the spelling on the stone. Would you miss me quite the same had I never come to fame? So the truth may now be known. Check the spelling on the stone.
The legend lives, never dies. It's up to you
Sing the song.
to decide.
Say the word and I'll come home. Check the spelling on the stone. Just check the spelling on my stone.
Okay, that was Check the Spelling on the Stone, Artist Unknown. You know, I told you that I was going to show you two major clues that I believe is telling us that Elvis did not die. And this is the second clue. Back in 1980, a country music magazine came out. And this magazine has been a great mystery for the last 32 years. But you know, I believe today that this mystery surrounding this magazine is finally starting to unravel. So what I'm going to do now is, first I'm going to show you the cover of the magazine. And then I'm going to show you page 77. Now what you're going to see on page 77 is RCA's memorial page to Elvis Presley. Now this is simply just a black page with Elvis's name, the year that he was born, and the year that he supposedly died. So here is the cover in page 77.
Holding you, I held everything. For a moment, wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say?
Alright, here's the real mystery surrounding this magazine. What I'm going to show you now is page 78. Now this page is a great mystery because it is advertising absolutely nothing at all. What you're going to see is a shadow of three men. And notice that the middle man is standing in a classic Elvis pose. Now, still to this day, no one really knows who paid to have this picture put in this magazine. Now, rumors have circulated over the years that Colonel Parker paid to have this picture put here. But no one has ever confirmed this. But the only writing on this page is two words, Jesse's coming. So here it is, page 78.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, there you go, page 78. Now it's my belief that they're showing us here that Elvis did not die. And I also believe that they're showing us how he would return to the public's eye someday. Now in the movie Elvis Found Alive, he said that originally he would return 2 or 3 years later after they had told us that he had died. And he would come back as an American hero and go back to his music career. But I believe that this all started to happen in the year 2002, and I'm going to show you how I believe that this all played out. But before I do that, you know, people always ask me, if Elvis was really alive, wouldn't they be telling us this on the news? Now what I'm getting ready to show you is, yes, they have been telling us that Elvis is alive. Now they've been doing this on TV and on the radio and in newspapers. And I'm going to show you how they've been doing this on the radio and in newspapers a little later on. But what you're going to see here next is that Fox News has been telling us for several years now that Elvis is alive. They've been using scientific evidence to show us this with. But you know, still till this day, no one took this really seriously and believed it. And most people in the world are still unaware that Elvis is really alive. But the evidence was there. But you know, like I said, this page 78 in this magazine, I believe it is telling us not only that the man is alive, but how he would return. And this is how I believe it all played out. And I got to tell you, the second part of this, it really rocks. I think you're going to like it. It's very cool. But I also believe that this is the answer to the mystery, Jesse's coming.